What's going on, guys? Kaiger here, and today we're going to talk about this big patch that's happening in Korea this week with Soletta, paladins, and a whole lot more. Let's get into it. Alright guys, you've likely seen some of this information floating around, but I wanted to make sure nothing else was announced over the weekend before I looked over this information. So, Soletta, Booba Mama, is going to be hitting in Korea this week. I will be logging on and giving you a full review of her on Thursday when that happens, checking out what she's got going on. And what's interesting is they tell us a little bit of story about her. So she is a junior in the academy, so that kind of makes sense why she's coming later, because she had to graduate. And you can't pick Soletta as your first character on a new account. You have to first get to Luden Village, which is pretty early in the story, and then you can make Soletta. And remember, they added the thing where you can skip story by paying crystals for however far of one of your characters is. So if you have a character that's beaten the entire story, you can pay crystals and have Soletta jump there. It's going to be interesting to see how much it goes. Like, does it give how many levels it gives her, things like that, to see if it's even worth it. She's an archer, and it seems like we all know that Orbia is big AoE damage. Soletta is very much single target, which could make her the real nuker that a lot of people have been asking for, have really been asking Orbia to be. And as we see right here, she does very little per hit, but cumulatively, that's for a specific type of her, as we'll see, does a bunch of damage as she does stacking hits. But that's only two of the elements that does that. Fire deals with tanks by reducing defense and dealing fixed damage on max HP. All we're missing is a way to put destroy on our summoners. Cleef has it on his fire weapon. It'll be interesting to have a way to give her fire destroy so she can just eat through tanks. Water has the fastest attack of all attributes and can immobilize enemies. So the immobilization, I'm assuming, is frostbite that most of them have. But what will be interesting is summoners don't have an attack speed. So it'd be interesting, they're saying that she has the fastest attacks. If she has an attack speed steroid very similar to Kina, that would be interesting to see. Wind can indirectly capacitate units. She can do continuous damage, sleep, and debuffs that cannot be dispelled. It is unclear if that means all of her debuffs can't be dispelled, or if she puts other debuffs that can't be dispelled, and she can spread debuffs using a new special effect called Contagion, making silence and all these things much, much better on her wind weapon. Light attribute makes heavy attacks one step at a time and becomes stronger when you attack the same target. That's what we talked about before. Each hit will deal more damage if you're hitting the same target over and over. Dark allows you to use skills more often. That is unclear. More often the more you attack enemies. So is it going to be, if I hit the same target over and over, my skills get like 10%, 10%, 10%, or something like that? That'll be interesting to see. And is specialized in gathering, blocking abilities with Oblivion, Gather, and Bind. So yeah, a bunch of this stuff down here is what we already knew what was coming. Give us more option with energy. Rifts, which are what we know as rifts, cracks, and the middle option where you can do Path of Oblivion, things like that. Enter without constrictions by consuming energy. So they're going to make it so that you use energy to do the rifts. Raid support change to energy and can proceed without restrictions and receive compensation accordingly. So you're going to be able to do raids as much as you want. Energy recovery is going from 7 minutes to 5 minutes, which does give us a lot more energy. And your maximum with global and NA, when energy was released for us, it was 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, and then 300 forever. On KR, when it came out, it went up to 5. It went number 3 was 300, 3, 4, 5, and then it scaled up more to 500 at 10, and then it was 500 per. Now they're coming down to our numbers at 300 going forward. Seal, which is currently a 6-man dungeon, is temporarily being changed to a 3-person dungeon, and in the future will be a single competitive content, so racing for times, things like that. So this is a huge rework for Secret Dungeon. No one uses it anymore besides for some Breath of Life. They're rebranding it, calling it something else. Single person dungeon called Illusion Dungeon. The monsters will be changed weekly. All 4-star light and dark monsters will appear in there, except for collab monsters. And 5-star harp magicians will be in there as well. It will be updated later, so water, fire, and wind harp magician will be attained later, which will be brand new units, which will be awesome for the game. 7 levels, the farther you get, the more stuff you get. Just like expeditions. Enter secret dungeons will be exchangeable for energy or gold in Castland. Elite raids. You can either do it by yourself or with a group, and the names of it will be called solo or group play. Galagos improved. Action points are not consumed on defeat, which is huge. So you can go test things and then go until you can beat it. Soul connection system. This is very, very confusing, and we're going to have to take a look when this comes. Between summons is added. Summons who want to transfer their abilities must meet the conditions of max level, max awakening, max skill. If you register summons that meet the conditions, then designate a monster to receive the ability transfer. So it is unsure. This is like a bunch of the idle games where you have one monster that's maxed on everything, and then a new monster comes along, you summon on them, and then you connect them, and now that new monster has maxed everything. That's kind of how it reads, but that would be kind of weird in a game like this. I don't mind it, but it'll be very, very interesting. This is also kind of new. Encyclopedia points for each attribute. 5-star summons. When you summon more 5 stars, you get points, you get free stuff. Kind of how it goes. Altar summoning is improved. When acquiring a 5-star LD attribute summon, you acquire if you get a 5-star LD from any kind of scroll and it's a dupe, you get a reroll, a single reroll. It doesn't mention about getting it another dupe if you're someone that has like 10 or 20 LD5s, and then you roll. It doesn't sound like you can roll. You get one free reroll, and it says if you already have some dupes, you will be able to get an item that will allow you to do an extra roll. KR did not have mileage shop in the last update that Global and NA got it. They are now getting the mileage shop, which no one really likes it as it is. Type battlefield. So battlefield season for them, it's every 4 days it's a new battlefield instead of every week, which is an interesting thing going forward. This is something that people have been asking for a while right here. Conquest War, which is Guild War, Guild Siege. Now all 50 players can fight. And what's interesting right here is your number of attacks is changed based on the number of players. So the more people you have, the less attacks each individual person can do, which isn't really how Sky Arena does it, but I think going forward it might be okay. We'll have to play with it to see what happens there. Oh, this is very cute. I like this one right here. You can build profession research towers in the guild hideout, which will allow your crafting of certain things to be cheaper. It just says cheaper, so probably it says required materials. It's uncertain if actual materials are going to go down or just price gold wise for when you craft things. More things are going to be coming in the future for the guild hideout, as well as a bunch of changes right here. You can also quick battle local dungeons, whatever that means. Probably the story dungeons. I'm not totally sure what that means there. Rune equipment indicate whether improve the method, cost to consume to advance. Quick battle during matching will be improved to apply to challenge arena. Added in, oh, that's right. So we can quick battle when we're in queue for stuff right now, but you can't quick battle challenge arena. Now for KR you will be able to. Search bar cutscene. The new 5-star summon paladin. This is a crazy unit, as we're going to see. Fire recovers target's HP while pulling enemies in to bind them, grants them the ability to disable debuffs. It also dispels debuffs and grants increased defense to allies. Each successful damage over time dealt by teammates heals the target and self. So an actual reason to build a dot team. This is going to be with sleep. This is going to be very, very good with the green soletta, because that's her whole thing. Very good time to have them both come out at the same time. Water attribute cancels strengthening effects, and this is not all buffs, because this is mostly going to be like attack up, defense up, attack speed up, things like that, at least from the wording they use on other buffs in KR. That's generally what strengthening sounds like. Suppression is that new keyword that we got last patch with the balance stuff, and that is if you would get skill cooldown, you instead lose skill cooldown. Provocation, which is provoke, grants himself a shield proportion to the amount of damage dealt. So you're going to want the water one to deal good damage and then give big shields. Dispels debuffs, counterattack when attacked. This is sounding a lot like a tanky Feng Yang, but could also end up being countered by Leica or things like that. Dispels debuffs on allies and applies a shield. When your shield's destroyed, heal. That is ridiculous. It is uncertain if that is only for the shield that it provides or from shields from other allies like Wusa, which will be interesting going forward. And when an enemy or ally summon uses mana recovery speed or mana gain or decrease, cancel all buffs of the target summoner, increase mana consumption, and deals fixed damage to health. Wow. So water is going to be very, very powerful. A lot of words. Wind removes debuffs from allies, grants invincibility to teammates, and taunts enemies, restoring HP and shielding allies. So invincibility, heal, taunt, shield. Just a bunch of stuff. Reduces damage received per... Oh, this is the really, really cool thing. So no one uses evasion, but the wind one takes less damage per evasion and gives themselves spell shield when evasion occurs. Spell shield being the first spell you're hit with, shrug it off. Grants an attack power increase buff to the team recovers from a raid. That is unclear if that's going to be like a Galagos kind of thing. I'm not unsure. Light gives themselves invincibility when provoking the enemy, which, I mean, when you're provoking, you want invincibility. That sounds fine. Recover and increase defense and grant invincibility to the target with the lowest HP. So very similar to how Cleef's light weapon gives the highest attack unit invincibility, this will give the lowest HP unit invincibility. Dispels allies' debuffs and grants recovery while restoring teammates' destroyed HP. So we have a counter to the destroy meta right there. The Dark Attribute Knight grants recovery and defense increase to the target with the lowest HP, deals additional damage to enemies equal to recovery amount, which is very, very interesting. Grants unhealable and provoke to the target, grants a shield to the enemy. When a skill is hit, that is unclear, and increases damage dealt while shielded. Sounds like they give themselves a shield when they're hit with a skill, and then deals more damage when they're shielded. When granting defense increase to yourself, if you do not have an attack increase buff, your teammates receive an attack increase, and if you don't have a defense buff, give them a defense buff. So tons of stuff going on. That's what she looks like. Really, really cool. That's it, but they're telling us a few things coming in August. Early August, we're going to have balance adjustments, as we would expect, guild breakthrough, uncertain what that means. It could be more buildings and stuff in the guild, or if that means more levels to guilds, unclear. Weapon and sub-weapon transmogs, which is the only thing that we don't change. It's very weird to have one of these cool like bath outfits or whatever, but you're holding, a weapon and a shield. Doesn't really make sense, right? So having those have some transmog will make sense. Main quest editions are scheduled. That is huge. It is unclear if that means a new area or if we're going deeper into Kantana. In addition, in mid-August, we are preparing various events to celebrate first anniversary this is the KR anniversary, and then 1 or 2 months later will be the NA anniversary, which will be very, very interesting. And that is it for the updates. Let me know in the comment section down below how excited you are for Soletta and Paladins and everything else coming in this update. Till next time, guys.